think when you really boil it down, the one thing that we're all seem to be striving for, however conscious or unconsciously, is some sort of salvation or some sort of liberation or freedom from suffering and from death, which in my mind is probably impossible, because we live in a dualistic world, and happiness and sadness depend on each other, hot and cold depend on each other, birth and death depend on each other. So that leads me to a quote that I want to share, which is, in Taoism they say if you lean on any one thing long enough, it will collapse. Or another way of saying that is, if you lean on any branch long enough, it will eventually break. So to tie that into, the scope of this video, I think that, a lot of people they lean on things like their diet, like their religion, which are often sometimes the same thing, or their exercise program, or their love life, or their money, or their cars, or their house, or any number of things. They just lean on them and think that if they just get the perfect diet, if they just get in good enough shape, if they just have enough money, if they just get a big enough house or a fast enough car, that that's all they're going to need, and that's going to be their ticket to salvation. That's going to be their liberation from suffering. That's going to be their their savior. But in reality, those are all just an illusion. Especially in this community, which is probably why you're watching this, probably into like health or diet or longevity or herbs or raw foods or something. And very oftentimes people in this genre, this niche, get a very religious aspect to their diet, in that they take their spiritual salvation over here and their diet over here and connect them together. And unconsciously they believe that, well, if I just eat the right food, if I just have a pure diet, then I'm saved. Then in some way I'm better than everyone else, and in some way, when it's all said and done, I'm going to be saved, or my spirit's going to evolve, or I'm going to be enlightened, or however you phrase it. And that to me is very dangerous. To take spiritual salvation and attach it to anything really is a dangerous thing, because the quote says, if you lean on any one thing long enough, it will eventually collapse. So if you take, your salvation, if that's even possible, however you define that, and you connect it to, your diet, your money, your relationships, whatever, eventually it's going to collapse, and that's going to be your entire identity, which you've put so much time and energy into, and it's all gone. Which basically, that's kind of like the bitter truth about this whole reality, is that, you might spend 50 years accumulating a lump sum of money in a house and possessions and relationships and accomplishments and fame, but it's all going to go. You're going to, your heart's going to stop beating, your body's going to stop respirating, the chi is going to stop circulating, and that's all done. So it really makes you question, this unconscious salvation drive that we have, and the connection between all of these different practices and dogmas almost. So that's something I was thinking about today while I was walking, and something I wanted to share because I think it's really relevant to, especially this community, however you define it. I think a lot of people have this unconscious thing of well, if I do this, if I do the right yoga, I'm better than the people that don't do yoga, because I'm saved because yoga is better than what they're doing. Or if I eat this perfect diet, then I'm better than all these other people because I'm eating better than they are, and they're asleep, or they're unconscious, or all of this rhetoric that you hear these people use, or very often is used in dialogue in our conversation. It's always like this us versus them kind of a mentality, or we're up here and they're down here, or we're enlightened or we're conscious and they're unconscious. To me, it is really just illusions, and they're really just ways of self-perpetuating and inflating the ego even more. Sorry about that, someone was just at my door. So in short, the point that I really want to put out there right now in this video is that I don't think any one of those paths, no matter if it's yoga, martial arts, meditation, your diet, your religion, your money, your house, your cars, whatever. Basically, it's all temporary, and it's all going to go one day, and it's not going to save you. So, sit with that for a little bit and just think about that, and then reflect on your choices as far as where you're putting your time, your energy, and your effort, and how you're spending your life force. Because no matter whatever longevity drugs or techniques or immortality stuff that comes out, in my mind, it's all ultimately fruitless and in vain. Now, that's just my opinion, and obviously you can disagree with me, and I encourage you to. And hopefully we can open up some dialogue and further our knowledge together. But that's just where I'm at and what I feel, and that's based on what I can see around me in my environment, what I can go out in the woods and observe, and what's very obvious and apparent. What's very obvious and apparent to me is that everything is temporary and changing, and that what's born is going to die. The tree puts out leaves and blossoms and fruits and everything, and then eventually that all dies and goes back to the earth, and it comes back again the next season. That's obvious. That's something anyone can observe. If there are other worlds, if there are who knows what that people imagine, I don't know. I can't see it right now, so I can't really vouch for it. That being said, I've had my fair share of out-of-body experiences, lucid dreams, astral projection, contact with other entities, all of that kind of a thing. I've had my fair share of it, and it's all been basically self-induced, but I don't really put weight in that, and that it's real, because if it's a paradoxical thing. It's just wherever you look, you're just seeing more of yourself, and if you put your attention on creating, let's say, an out-of-body experience, and you do that, does that mean it's real? Or does that mean your mind just helped create it? If you put your attention on creating, some sort of godlike deity figure, and then you create it, and of course you find reasons and evidence to support it, but does that mean it's real? Who knows? I mean, it's just something that I don't have the answer to, and I don't think that anyone really has had the answer to, and it's something that really can't be put into words. So I know it's kind of like some maybe heavy stuff compared to a lot of my other videos, but just some stuff I wanted to get off my chest, put out there. Came to me today when I was taking a walk, and if you have any questions or comments, post them below. If you haven't already subscribed, definitely do so, and I will talk to you soon.